Attila the Hun, often referred to as the Scourge of God, stands as one of history's most formidable figures, a name that conjures images of fear, conquest, and unyielding ambition. His life and reign, spanning the early to mid-5th century, were marked by a series of significant events that not only shaped his legacy, but also influenced the course of European history. Born around 406 AD, Attila emerged from the steppes of Central Asia, where the Huns, a nomadic warrior society, had begun to consolidate their power. This narrative seeks to explore the pivotal moments that defined Attila's life, his rise to power, and the lasting impact of his reign. The Huns, under Attila's leadership, were a fierce and mobile force. They were known for their exceptional horsemanship and archery skills, which allowed them to execute rapid raids and retreats. Attila was born into a world of tribal alliances and conflicts, a landscape where strength and cunning dictated survival. His early life was characterized by the tumultuous politics of the Hunnic tribes, where he was shaped by both his family and the broader conflicts of the time. Attila was the son of Mundzuk, a nobleman of the Huns, and from a young age, he was immersed in the traditions and warrior culture of his people. Attila's rise to power began in earnest after the death of his uncle, Rugila, who had been the leader of the Huns. In a strategic move, Attila formed a partnership with his brother Bleda, and together they ruled the Hunnic Empire. This was a critical period, as the brothers sought to consolidate their power and expand their territory. Their reign saw the Huns launch a series of devastating raids into the Eastern Roman Empire, which was already weakened by internal strife and external pressures. The Huns' incursions into Roman territory were not merely acts of aggression, they were calculated moves that aimed to exploit the vulnerabilities of a faltering empire. One of the most significant events during Attila's early reign was the Battle of the Catalaunian Plains in 451 AD. This battle marked a turning point in the conflict between the Huns and the Roman Empire, particularly the Western Roman forces led by General Flavius Aetius. The Romans, allied with Visigothic forces, aimed to halt Attila's advance into Gaul. The battle was fierce and bloody, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. While Attila did not achieve a decisive victory, his ability to rally his troops and maintain his reputation as a formidable leader was evident. The aftermath of the battle demonstrated the resilience of the Hunnic forces, and though they retreated, Attila's reputation as a conqueror only grew. In the wake of the Catalaunian Plains, Attila turned his attention to the Eastern Roman Empire, seeking to assert his dominance and extract tribute. In 447 AD, he launched a campaign into the Balkans, where he laid waste to cities and towns, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. His tactics were ruthless, and he employed psychological warfare, using fear as a weapon to demoralize his enemies. The Eastern Roman Emperor, Theodosius II, was forced to negotiate, and Attila's demands were met with a substantial tribute, further solidifying his power and influence. Attila's campaigns were not solely about conquest, they were also about establishing a legacy. He understood the importance of creating a narrative around his rule. In 452 AD, he invaded Italy, a bold move that would cement his reputation as one of history's great conquerors. The invasion was marked by a series of swift attacks on cities, including the sacking of Aquileia, which was described as one of the most brutal events of his campaigns. The destruction of Aquileia sent shockwaves throughout the region, and the tales of Hunnic ferocity spread like wildfire. However, Attila's ambitions were met with unexpected challenges. As he advanced deeper into Italy, he faced a coalition of forces, including the Romans and their allies, who were determined to halt his progress. The Roman leadership, recognizing the existential threat posed by Attila, sought to negotiate peace. It was during these negotiations that one of the most notable figures in Roman history, Pope Leo I, emerged. The Pope met Attila in a dramatic encounter, where he is said to have persuaded the Hun leader to withdraw from Italy. This event has been romanticized in history, portraying Leo as a heroic figure who saved Rome from destruction. Whether the Pope's intervention was the sole reason for Attila's retreat remains a subject of debate, but it undeniably added to the mystique surrounding both Attila and the papacy. Despite his withdrawal from Italy, Attila's influence continued to grow. He returned to his homeland, where he consolidated his power and continued to govern his vast empire. His court became a hub of diplomacy and intrigue, as he forged alliances with various tribes and peoples. Attila's ability to navigate the complex political landscape of the time was a testament to his skills as a leader. He understood that power was not solely derived from military might. It also required the ability to forge alliances and maintain loyalty among his followers. Attila's reign was also marked by significant cultural exchanges. The Huns, often viewed as barbaric by their contemporaries, were influenced by the cultures they encountered. They adopted elements of Roman and Gothic culture, which enriched their own traditions. Attila's court became a melting pot of ideas and customs, reflecting the dynamic nature of the late Roman world. This cultural exchange would have a lasting impact on the regions that would later form the foundations of medieval Europe. However, Attila's reign was not destined to last forever. In 453 AD, he died under mysterious circumstances, reportedly on the night of his wedding, to a young woman named Ildiko. His death marked the beginning of the decline of the Hunnic Empire. Following his passing, the unity that Attila had forged among the Huns began to unravel. His sons Elak, Dengizic, and Ernach struggled to maintain control over the vast territories their father had conquered. The internal divisions and power struggles among the Hunnic leaders weakened the empire, and it soon faced external pressures from the very tribes that Attila had once subjugated. The legacy of Attila the Hun is complex and multifaceted. To some, he remains a symbol of barbarism and destruction, a figure who epitomized the collapse of the Western Roman Empire. To others, he is a representation of resilience and strength, a leader who navigated the tumultuous landscape of his time with skill and cunning. Scholars and historians continue to debate the nuances of his character and the motivations behind his conquests. Was he merely a ruthless conqueror, or did he possess a vision for a greater Hunnic empire? In the centuries following his death, Attila's name became synonymous with terror. The narratives surrounding him were shaped by those who sought to portray him as the embodiment of chaos and destruction. Medieval chroniclers often exaggerated his exploits, weaving tales of his ferocity and the devastation he wrought upon the Roman world. These accounts, while often sensationalized, contributed to the enduring image of Attila as a legendary figure in history. The impact of Attila's reign extended far beyond his lifetime. The Huns played a crucial role in the migration period, a time of significant upheaval and transformation in Europe. Their movements and interactions with other tribes and peoples contributed to the shifting dynamics of power in the region. The vacuum left by the decline of the Hunnic Empire allowed for the rise of new powers, including the Franks and the Ostrogoths, who would go on to shape the future of Europe. In modern times, Attila the Hun has been the subject of fascination and intrigue. His life has inspired countless works of literature, art, and film, often depicting him as a tragic hero or a monstrous villain. The duality of his legacy reflects the complexity of historical narratives, where figures can be both revered and reviled. Attila's story serves as a reminder of the power of perception in shaping history, as well as the enduring impact of leadership in times of crisis. In conclusion, Attila the Hun's life and reign were marked by significant events that shaped his legacy and influence throughout history. From his rise to power and military conquests to his cultural exchanges and eventual decline, Attila remains a compelling figure whose impact resonates through the ages. His story is one of ambition, strength, and the complexities of leadership in a world defined by conflict and change. As we reflect on his legacy, we are reminded of the intricate tapestry of history, where the threads of individual lives intertwine to create a narrative that continues to captivate our imagination.